Right, hello everyone, and this is Angmarian Mapping Beaurau stream for you today with some maps to stream, some games to play, and whatever else happens during these 2 or 3 hours from current point. So, as I was telling in Discord, I've compiled quite a list of maps already. Well, first one technical info is that I'm having a new headset right now. So if you have any suggestions about audio, then let me know ASAP, because when I was testing my microphone on this headset, it was picking up everything around, including mouse clicking, keyboard, and even sound coming from my headphones. So if something like that happens, then just let me know in Twitch chat, which I actually forgot to enable on the overlay. It should be coming up right about now. Yeah. So going about sound. So back to the maps, right? So I have skimmed through the resource center and downloaded some of the maps from them, like 1v1 array maps. Some of them I've already played before. Probably I need to lower my voice a bit. Actually reduce the gain here, like that. So maybe that's enough. Some of them I've already played, some of them I have seen but haven't played yet. Some of the maps I haven't even heard about just before yesterday. And of course there is a portion of my maps as well, which I'm planning to emphasize on during today's stream. Like an opening one on the series of streams that I'm planning to do during this probably 1.5 months. I don't know how many streams will there be, but today is a start, definitely. So at least several at undisclosed yet dates, probably around weekends and Fridays. Especially that Friday is already free, because Soulscard has vacated the spot just about now, taking a little bit of open array vacation, and also, as you might have heard, he left his unplugged project on currently on indefinite hold. So that's about it. And on the plus side, we probably might see Soulscard being more active on OpenArray itself and on its pack of modes around. Not modes, but mods. Like he was an avid player and supporter for KKND and the likes. Of course, there is Shattered Paradise as well, and there are some interesting new mods yet undisclosed, or not as popular as other mods mentioned. But anyway, I think I'll just start with some casual game with some player from Norway, whom I'm not familiar with. And the first map is, as you can see, Tannenbaum, done by me a year ago, or probably even 2 years ago. I don't actually remember, but it was a Christmas themed map with a Christmas tree in the middle. And well, what I want to test right about now is this one. It's a map poll that you can participate in. Yeah, I think you just type 1 or 2 to vote on or against the map, and I will use that information for whatever reasons of mine. And well, that we are starting our first game here on the stream. So this map is quite on a small side.
Construction complete. Construction optional building.
One of its interesting points is the open middle with a lot of trees. Not unlike
construction complete.
How it's called,
New
Sparrow Grove.
options.
So has some action for crushing in the middle. At the same time, it's a very close rush distance. And I think I need to tilt it a little bit. Yeah, like that. So again, there is a minor expansion at the bottom for each player.
Options.
So I forgot some infantry, I think.
Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Agreed.
Unit ready.
Ready and waiting. Very well.
Unit
Waiting
ready.
orders, of course.
Unit ready.
Reporting as you wish.
Unit
Waiting
ready.
order, affirmative.
Primary building selected.
Right, so first, that's a valid question.
Construction complete.
I will try to
deploy here.
play at the same time.
Building.
I'm typing it.
Construction complete. Building. Training. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready.
Yeah, let it be like here
Unit
then.
ready. Unit ready. Unit ready.
Should
Unit
have now.
ready. Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Unit ready. Unit ready.
Ready and waiting.
Unit ready.
At once.
And yeah, there is a small expansion at the bottom.
Reporting. Yes, sir.
Unit ready.
There is
Unit lost.
a big expansion,
Construction
something
complete.
similar to
New construction options.
what you have at Face Off. 3 minor expansion at the top, some minor expansions the left and right, and there is a gem-mine in the middle, just the dead center between the spawns. So it has quite little space to maneuver
Unit
around.
Reporting. Affirmative.
Construction complete.
Yes, sir.
Ready. Unit ready.
And actually I think
Unit
I
ready.
should have
Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready.
named the poll something
Unit
like
ready.
is it fun
Unit
or is
ready.
it not? Or
Unit ready.
not just voting about something. but I guess this will do as well.
Unit ready.
Just for now, for testing
Building.
purposes. And
Unit ready.
as I can remember, I'm
Waiting orders.
not
Very
good
well.
at
Construction complete.
playing and
Unit ready. Unit construction ready.
talking at the same time. So probably I will fail miserably at both.
Complete. Building. Cancel.
Do I need
Unit
that?
ready.
Yeah, I need that.
Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Primary building.
Ready,
Unit
awaiting.
ready. Unit ready. Selected.
Waiting order.
Unit
Affirmative.
ready. Unit ready.
Ready and waiting.
Unit ready.
Acknowledged. Yes, sir.
Unit
At
ready.
once.
Unit ready.
Oh, nice.
Reporting.
Unit lost.
Waiting
Oh,
order. Acknowledged.
that's not
Unit
nice.
ready.
As you wish.
Unit ready. Unit
Vehicle
lost.
reporting. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Ready. Acknowledged.
That's definitely
Primary
not
building.
nice that
Primary
he
building.
has
Selected.
2 MCs, but
Yes, sir.
Unit
As you
ready.
I guess one of them is an original one.
Construction complete. Unit ready. Construction options. Building.
Ready
Unit
and waiting.
unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Ready.
Yes, sir.
Unit
Yes, sir.
ready. Ready.
Waiting
Unit
orders.
ready.
Very well.
Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Ready. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost.
And I think I'm pretty much,
Primary building. Primary building.
how to call it,
Unit
fucked
ready.
here. Because I'm not sure
Unit
what to
ready.
do
Unit
right now.
ready.
Especially that
Building.
I have built
Cancel. Building. Cancel. Building. Unit ready. Building. Construction complete.
Affirmative.
radar dome for whatever reason.
Unit ready.
Acknowledged. Yes, sir. Affirmative. At once. Agreed. As you wish.
Unit ready.
Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Waiting order. Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Ready and waiting.
Unit
Acknowledged.
ready.
Yes, sir.
Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit ready.
Awaiting orders.
Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready.
Acknowledged. Yes,
Unit
sir.
ready. Unit lost. Unit lost.
At once. Very well. Of
Unit lost.
waiting
Unit
orders.
lost.
Affirmative.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Construction function. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Primary
What
building.
is
Selected.
happening in this game? I don't
Unit
understand
lost. Lost. Primary building.
why
Selected.
I'm failing here so bad.
Construction complete. Unit ready. Is under attack. Unit
Don't know about the map,
Unit
but
lost.
my game is
Unit ready.
definitely not good here.
Construction complete. Unit ready. Lost. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready.
Fire, goddammit!
Ready.
That makes sense.
Unit ready. Building. Unit ready.
Yes, sir.
Unit ready.
At once.
Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Prepare. Unit ready. Construction unit complete. Ready.
Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Unit primary ready. Selected.
Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Waiting order. Yes, sir. Reporting.
Unit ready. Unit ready. Building. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit ready. Lost. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit construction. Building.
Ready and waiting. Waiting.
Unit ready.
Affirmative. Ready and waiting. As you wish. Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Reporting. Of
Unit
course.
ready.
Waiting on the vehicle reporting.
Unit ready.
Affirmative. Comrade, acknowledged. Waiting orders. Agreed.
Unit ready.
Yes, sir.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Ready. Unit construction. Unit ready. Lost. Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Reporting.
Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Construction lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Ready. Unit lost. Unit ready. Lost. Unit lost. Building. Selected. Unit lost.
Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Unit ready. Construction prepared. Construction complete.
Waiting order.
Unit lost. Units ready. Construction complete. Unit lost. Primary building selected. Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Waiting for affirmative. Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Vehicle reporting.
Unit ready. Construction complete. Unit ready. Unit ready. Construction complete. Unit ready. Unit ready.
Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Yes, sir.
Unit
Acknowledged.
ready. Unit ready. Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Repair. Unit ready.
Waiting. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Unit primary building
Ready.
selected.
Acknowledged. Reporting. Acknowledged. Affirmative. No problem.
Unit ready.
Acknowledged.
Construction complete. Repair. Unit ready.
Affirmative.
Cancel building. Cancel. Unit ready. Building. Unit lost. Ready.
Reporting.
Unit ready. Insufficient repair. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready.
Affirmative.
Unit ready. Unit ready. Selected. Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Unit ready. Construction ready. Unit ready. Construction complete. Unit
Vehicle
lost.
reporting. Reporting. Affirmative.
Unit lost. Unit ready. Construction complete.
Ready and waiting. As you wish.
I don't know why I'm even continue to play it here.
Unit lost.
So already clear that
Building. Construction complete.
I've
Unit
pretty
ready.
much lost this game.
Construction options.
Affirmative. Acknowledge. Affirmative.
Construction complete. Unit ready.
Well, this was at least fun.
Reporting. Acknowledge. Reporting.
Repair.
Sir. Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Acknowledge. Affirmative.
Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit insufficient funds.
Reporting. As you wish,
Unit
sir.
ready. Unit ready. Construction complete. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready.
Waiting order. Acknowledge. Reporting. Affirmative.
Unit lost.
Yes, sir. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Acknowledge. Affirmative. Acknowledge. Acknowledge.
Unit ready. Unit ready. Construction complete.
Acknowledge. Acknowledge.
Unit ready.
Awaiting. Affirmative.
Insufficient
Acknowledge.
funds.
Reporting. Affirmative. Yes, affirmative.
Primary
Vehicle
building
acknowledged.
selected.
Affirmative. Affirmative. Awaiting.
Construction
Acknowledged.
complete. Unit ready.
Vehicle report. Acknowledged.
Construction complete. Unit ready. New construction is under attack.
Affirmative.
Repair.
Ready and waiting. Agreed. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Unit ready. Repair. Insufficient funds.
Yes, sir. As you
Unit
wish, sir.
lost. Unit
Affirmative.
lost.
Acknowledged.
Primary building lost. Lost. Unit building lost. Cancel. Building. Building. Unit construction complete. Cancel. Cancel. Building. Building. Unit ready.
Vehicle report.
Unit
Affirmative.
ready. Unit ready. Building. Building.
Awaiting order. Affirmative.
Insufficient
Waiting. Acknowledge.
funds.
Acknowledge. Ready and at
Unit
once.
lost. Unit ready. Lost. Construction complete.
Of course.
Our
Reporting.
base is under
Affirmative.
attack.
Ready and waiting.
Unit lost.
Agreed. Vehicle reporting.
Unit lost.
Awaiting.
Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Don't want to lose it.
Primary building selected. Unit lost.
Yes, sir.
Unit lost.
Well, alright.
Unit ready. Unit lost.
At least that was fun.
Fail. Battle control.
I think we need one more game here. Also, I think that I need to edit it here again. Ah. better, I guess. Well, so what can you say about this map? Yes, stream is 180p, and currently I don't get any options on the map, on the quality, as I usually randomly do, instead of 5 faces or So Scared. But today is not that day, so unfortunately 180p is the only option you will have, at least for the time being. And I hope we'll have at least some players today, not spectators. Whippy, I have the face-off version 2 on my list, so somewhere in the near future it will surely feature on the streams. Not gonna promise it to be today, but it will be, definitely, because I want to revisit that map. Well, it was considered do or die in Red Alert Global League Season 4, but still I don't exactly think I don't exactly agree with that assertion of the map, that assumption, because I think still that jumps in the middle were a little bit overstated or overrated, and they didn't get players as much as most of players considered them to be. It was, however, the nice and forward position in the middle of the map, but I think that you should have either aggressively go for it and then utilize it at full extent, but if you are not going for it, then you should have go for other expansions, which were actually much more stable than the middle one, because for the middle you have just something like 30 seconds or a minute for gathering gems, and then it's completely dried and you need to move out. So it's only leaving you with a decent middle map position to be able to control either top or bottom, and more likely going to the top instead of bottom, because usually people placed refineries above the nose, above the gem mine. But at the same time, I think that you as well had a reasonable choice to go to the top straight or to the bottom straight, depending on whether you want eco or harassment, because through the bottom you have 2 access points to your enemy's main, through the middle or through the bottom. And I think there were still a lot of positional play going on besides the middle map point. So In the end, the map was hacked by rash decisions like much the same like Badger Hills recently, like that move in the middle or die movement around players. But still, still, yeah. At least there is a new version of Face Off that we can observe, so we'll get to it eventually.
Battle control initiated.
Somewhere in the future, I don't know. Will I be positive about it today or not? Maybe. So let's get back to the map at hand, shall we? And yeah, I agree that this map doesn't exactly play to a grand extent of what OpenArray has to offer. And of course, most of expansions on this map are not as effective to move around. Also, the map is quite small, if I remember it correctly. Check. Well, actually, it's 80 by 80, so not that small, but still on a small side. Something like Stanitsa, maybe, or maybe exactly like Stanitsa, because it's about 8ish size by size. About making bottom expansion double or mine. Maybe. Well, actually, I think I haven't even revisited it much and haven't thought about its balance. Moving ore patches slightly here, maybe. Still, this pack of trees prevents most of base pushing around, just because they're placed exactly dense to prevent placing barracks, as far as I remember. I want them to be. But still, yeah, maybe making those double mines is still a single expansion, and making this a double mine as well, something like a top expansion for agenda. I don't know, maybe add some capturables here just to spice up some action. And yeah, I forgot to follow the actual game here, which is in 2 minutes 3 already. And we have Bubblegum finishing up his war factory, and Green is where? Estonia, right? So Green has moved his base upwards, which I won't consider a viable move on this map, I think. But we'll see how Bubblegum reacts to that. Because obviously, again, there is a gem mine in the middle, which a lot of people would like to go first to capture. just because everyone thinks that gem mines are awesome. They provide a lot of resources, but that's a double-edged sword. First, you're likely to float hard, just because you are not able to burn through all these gems fast enough with your early game eco. And then afterwards you flat out and drain all your money because the gem mine depleted and you didn't expand further with your MCV. So taking gems should be always a cautious move, I suppose. Or another way of dealing with this is that you deliberately build something like a bunch of barracks and then hit mass production of infantry, mass production of tanks, just about when you expand to the actual gem mine, so that you will be able to drain through the money fast, and what's more important, that you'll be able to actually field a lot of army. And while we are seeing that, talking about that, it's not really relevant because Bubblegum is out of the game. Because probably Bubblegum should have either... I think he didn't pay enough attention for incoming APC, but I don't think he saw that. At the same time, he didn't pay enough attention that his opponent moved his base around. So that's that. Yeah, I agree that probably Tenenbaum is not going to be a highly popular competitive map, but it's still fun to play sometimes, I see. And yeah, I think there is no point in playing this game right now.
Battle control.
So we can just leave and continue on our something next. And what will I choose for the next map then? I have a list. There is another map that I wanted to revisit. One of my favorite perfect balance maps. I think this version hasn't even been wait, I think this is not even the correct version, unfortunately. So yeah, we won't play that. I will leave that for later. So instead, let's try something new that I've just made in last days. Yeah, and Equilibrium will be visited somewhere later. um, the spirit of Abaroth has touched our chat just about now. Unfortunately, he left to play some team games, I guess. Or maybe not. So here he is. And let me update the boson. Oh, the questionnaire is like here. And maybe we'll have some interesting competition here, because we already see the likes of Loiros here. Buck is one of more successful recruits players in season 5. Taking the first place in one of the recruits groups. Well, that was almost a year ago, 2 seasons ago.
Battle control initialized.
And we already have Drunk Bane in the chat, so that will make it a little bit more fun. Well, right away I can say that probably starting spots may require a little bit more of space between the between the mines. So maybe moving this patch and this patch slightly outwards. Chat on the battlegrounds. What? That is definitely a Drunk Bane. But whatever. So I can't say anything yet about this map. Only that it has 2 oil derricks, a hospital, 2 double mine expansions for each player. One of them probably being considered a natural, like this one in the middle, and one outside one, something similar to the sidestep expansion, but even more pressed one, so you can only place a refinery left or right, and the other side will be quite vulnerable one if you are not defending both sides, which is also possible if you place your MCV somewhere here and creep to both sides, but I don't think anyone will do that. At the same sort, I think someone might build something like walls or double walls around the exit just to protect it, so yeah, that might work. Would be interesting to see how players react to it. And of course, I'm not forgetting that there is also a gem mine for each player. Quite completely open to a lot of sides, so it's open to the middle, open to one of the players. It has a slow route through the fort here, and it also has a 2-cell passage on the border. Well, probably Aberrat's opponent is not exactly the one to highlight much of this map properly, so we'll need to at least visit it once more, or maybe 2 times. I guess 2 times. At least. Oh. And Aberrat doesn't yet know about his opponent being a little bit on a slow side, but let's see how it goes. Oh, not a slow side, but actually he's already building an MCV, which will be up at minute 4. So at least this guy knows a little bit of what he's doing. And he hasn't lost his APC yet. Oh, it was Red House. Oh yeah, Alorus, I think that your monitor is... well, maybe broken, or at least it has a very slow refresh rate. Let's see, there's probably both taking their natural expansions through the middle. And this spot here also presents you with a nice view into the middle of the map. Yeah, like here. But still not exactly enough to cover all the middle passage. So you'll be able to like protect half of it. Or if you place MCV somewhere here, then you'll be able to cover a lot of it. But still, I think it's something is left open for it. And as that pin guy who is Schweineschmalz, as he was building a very aggressive eco build, he will probably be a little bit more successful on his money. Yeah, taking a very nice aggressive MCV placement right here. At least Aberrat is defending properly, so he's not rushing his infantry into the fire here. And Aberrat surely needs something to defend himself here. Unfortunately losing his expansion refinery. Still has some juice left. And has an expansion in the corner there. Wow, and that's quite a forward radar dome here. still provides Schweinisch mounts with a lot of vision. Apparat is using his ore trucks to tank, as well as moving them away to his backwards expansion. That's that expansion. No, I think it won't be much of a threat here because those are just pure rockets. They will be soon dead to two rifle infantries. At the same time, it looks like Aberrat is taking over this forward base push, so that's at least getting into status quo. And actually Aberrat will soon get ahead here if he presses fast enough, but I think he doesn't, so that still gets fortified here. And that backwards, that attacks through the middle, which Aberrat completely didn't expect. Happy? Yeah, that might be happy. Not like him to go a very fast MCV with no infantry, because he's usually all out two refineries into infantry guy. But still, this two-pronged movement looks a little bit like him. That also has some of Lorry style here. So yeah, this game produced more quality that I would have expected from the first game and those Smurfs. And it was quite interesting to notice a forward base push here, but with a second MCV. Actually, he could have used his first expansion MCV to just move out there. So yeah, this spot is quite grabbable with MCVs, and maybe I will even need to address this in future vision. Let's see another game here. Yeah, both Jur and Buck were players in the Recruits Arctic Sea, yeah, maybe Arctic Sea. And probably Aberrat longs for some blood here, being destroyed by some random Smurfs that we don't yet know much about. let's have it like that. And yeah, well, actually Bane will be an interesting player to test this map because he is an avid MCV user, as you may know. And yeah, this center spot looks like a certainty for MCV movement. Probably I will need to place a lot of some small debris or destructible buildings around here. Because actually this part reminds me of how it's called, Siberian Summer. It also had its naturals quite close to each other in the middle, but it also had a lot of well, several buildings as far as I remember, also some destructibles. So actual movement between one natural to another wasn't that viable for base pushing. What I want to point out here also is that distance from each spawn to each oil derrick is quite close actually. And that is a thing that I like to utilize in my maps, and it worked marvelously, and probably was one of the best features on River of Gold, which failed on other points, but I think that those oil derricks were spot on that map. So regarding the oil derricks is you can notice that, for example, to this spawn this oil derrick is closer, but war factory, fast war factory even. Is it? Yep, it's a little bit faster. So what I was speaking is this oil derrick is closer, but you can't creep with your barracks as fast to in a horizontal direction as in vertical, because vertically your buildings have one more cell. So if you use a power plant and then barracks, then you can cover two more cells closer to this oil derrick here. So this is almost a screen, and this is something like half a screen. Well, you know, actually this one is closer to this spawn, and this spawn is closer to this oil derrick, so still those are more safe for respective players, but still some play with the distances here. Well, as usual, I was talking and missing all the game here. Barrett decided to capture a hospital and then retreat his engineer into a corner. Now Bane will likely capture both oil derricks here. At the same time, Everett tries to keep up with Bane's more fast, or actually faster production here. Or no, 3 ore mines for each player, and 2 double mine expansions, and also a gem mine, which grows quite fast if you notice. And also 2000 worth of gems, just for whatever reason, to add some flavor to the map on the sides. Or if you are completely broke and you just straight out need something like 2,000 of money straight away. Oh, I don't know what we're talking about right now, but let's see how their expansion routes go. Gums, yeah, sure. They're juicy. They're very sweet to take, and they give you a lot of problems, just like candy. So let's hope Bane does some his MCV magic around. Blindly expanding into each direction here. Yeah, so interestingly, Aberrod decided to get his left expansion, but his placement of production yard, let's say not perfect, because he won't be able to place a refinery here. You need to move it at least 2 cells. Probably he just plans to vote off here. Yep, got it. But his first wall wasn't correctly placed, I think, because Wayne will be able to pass through this tile. So I don't know what was that all about. Maybe more walls. Yeah, definitely more debris needed in the middle. Or maybe more fences. I like fences on the maps. Just because fences give a sound clue when they're crushed. And I like some additional scout clues for players to get around. Also requires a little bit of micro to go around them. Yeah, you hear Laros, police is all over you. I don't know what this double ranger is all about. They're also empty. And there is a huge engagement in the middle. Rapport also with a yak and with some V2s, so as far as I like Aberrod, he doesn't stand any chance here. And Bane also repairing his heavy tanks, that's nice. Well, maybe not. But he definitely sought in that direction. Something about these walls though. Borat still tries to do something about this army just around his base. Unfortunately, pure rifles don't work well against mass V2s. Fortunately though, he has some artillery already going on for him, so that might help. But then there are also Yaks, yep, which can attack MCVs and artilleries just as good. So as artists didn't play any scene beyond this game, okay, that was interesting. And I think I still want to see yet another game on this map, if you don't mind. I don't think you do, because I'm picking the maps, right? Oh, what's going on in... ah, not really much going on in chat. So far, this map plays quite interestingly, I think. Alright, so those guys want to play.
Battle control initialized.
Yeah, if anyone has any clue about what Aberrant is speaking about, then Just give me a hint. And we are having some connection problems. So we have a little bit more time to check them up. And probably I will need to kick this person in the further games just to not hold up the stream. Unfortunate as it is, it's better to use a stream instead of specking. Yeah, I don't have any regular schedule like those streaming beasts in the likes of Five Faces and So Scared usually do. Um, but well, I had an opportunity to stream today and I took it, so that's that. We are considering some debris here. What else can be looked up about this map? So far at least it doesn't really perform bad, I would say. One more concern maybe probably with the middle split, but for that we'll need much longer games to have to test. Yeah, I know the feeling. I also had some problems with my streaming earlier on, like maybe a year ago or so. Apparently my internet improved over time, so at least I don't have those anymore. Like when you enable streaming and then it suddenly starts to stutter and lag around for no particular reason. It's good when you don't have that. Yeah, getting back to Bane, not Bane, Aberrant. At least he was, and probably still is, a decent player. Uh, Racking up a lot of interesting games back in Season 4. And then leaving the competitive scene, but still um, lurking around. He is also known for a lot of non-European servers raised up, especially Asian servers. But unfortunately he needed to take those down. So currently the eastern region uh, of the global map lacks proper coverage for our dedicated servers, as unfortunate as that might be, and we still have someone to step up for that, because while Eastern, like Australian or Asian players are plentiful, and most of the times they can play on servers. Still, yeah, that's a sound clue. Still, I think they have some problems with connections, and that deters a lot of players from team games, especially because they usually get banned just for being from, for example, Australia or New Zealand, because inherently other people just think right away that they will be lagging the whole game, and they kick them out. So back to the game. Abert tried a base push here, didn't work. Now retreating to his natural. Still left lone pillbox in the middle. Yeah, macros and using them is something of a hot topic. At least for some people. I can say I consider that a major issue, maybe a minor one, but if people are upset when someone else, if they feel that someone else is having an advantage, then it's just better to not use anything than to confront them. And especially that as we don't have exactly heavy established competitive player base, then we don't have a lot of players with high APM. Because if you check average and you're around 30s, sure is even about 23 here. So that's much less than StarCraft, just because OpenArray has a different system regarding registering APM. But still, that's quite low, as for example, Orb is usually around having around 50, and Five Faces sometimes hits 70. So I would say that something around 100 is maybe a realistic maximum for this system. Maybe not, but still just a small share of players has values higher than 50, let's say. So at the moment we don't have high APM problems, and everyone that has high APM is considered using some sort of automated things, even if he's not. So anyway, no one really complained about the sound that I'm getting today, so I would guess that everything is okay with the mic and the overall audio volumes. If it's that, then I will just not touch them anymore, because they are set up already. I still feel that I need to just slightly lower the gain on microphone, but I'm not sure. Maybe I'll listen to the record later and decide what's what. I'll lower again, right. And music, yeah. So Embarrass is getting pounded again for no particular reason, and will again complain probably about something that's changed into the general direction of OpenArray, whereas there were actually not. Well, if it comes to it, I don't even remember whether there were any changes whatsoever since March release. Still building walls. This time at least it works better. And also Barrett should have been better on his money situation, but somehow didn't ever expand it to this corner. And he's lost his MCV there. That's why. And he's probably about to lose another one if he's not unpacking it soon. And he's not, so that goes second MCV. And that will probably send Tabarat right into a range of complaints about the game. Yeah, so let's have some stats then. Aberrant and Jura quite even on units destroyed and on assets and on earned money, but Jura is slightly ahead. Not even gathering those gems, but we'll have those quite soon. Oh, and I guess Aberrant just repaired one of his MCVs with a mechanic. And there is a fleet by Aberrod that is doing a lot of damage. It has just got a radar dome because apparently Sure doesn't have any AA guns. And Aberrod has one, but there is not really much going on for Sure in terms of aircraft. So yeah, so Aberrod just cancels this one. So, as you can see, allies mirrors can still be somewhat stale, especially if both players make them stale like this. You know, Aberrod built it, and he's already in the US, and I think he's a citizen of the US, so he's eligible to be the next president. But I'm not sure they will need another one that's able to build walls. They already have one. Finally, sure, getting his champs on the left. Yeah, and what I actually wanted to see is the late game on this map and the stale situation in the middle, so we are getting one, but I'm not sure it's due to the map itself rather than due to the players playing it, and also this wall. And also definitely those side paths don't get exactly used. Well, at least Sure used one. Moved his army, destroyed one expansion, and is planning to destroy another one. Quite some. And of course got another MCV here, but not much past that. But is already on his tech center, placed in the dead middle. And I think that those polls might only work for an hour. Right? So I can just relaunch it. I remember the not sure yet bit, and the popular answer. Actually, not a lot of people use that. Oh, thanks, Violet. Oh, at least this map is not a straight no for an answer. That's for sure. Maybe some tweaks needed here and there, but I'm not disappointed with it right away. Let's say that. This here, but that barrage of artillery made Tanya obsolete on the field. Actually, I think I need to lower my some volume just a little bit, just some pixels. Unfortunately, we are not playing the playtest, which has my PR in about controlling volumes for the sound. So if you think that your volume control bar is fucked up and is having the volume here instead of here, then it's not a bug, it's a feature that I implemented. And the thing that I implemented is I've changed the linear volume change into exponential one, which is a more proper way to actually control the volume on computers, because our ear works in such a way that it registers loudness more exponentially than linearly. So as you can see right now, the like 3/3 of volume bar is just the same sound, and then somewhere here it's changeable to from barely heard to loud. But when we have it exponential, it's the other way around, so we have the normal part controlled about a bigger scale, and then we have a large part on the left side, and it's from quiet to absolutely quiet. Alright, so
Battle control terminated.
I guess enough of this map. Let's switch to something else. Why is everything switched to fast, I wonder? Let's play this one. I haven't even seen this one. music. It's set in the well, if it's chewy, then probably. Ah, well, what the hell. Let's have this map. Or maybe not. What else? Arid is actually a map that I'm looking for. And we have a new pole. And we are waiting for Bane. And you know what? I also need a beer.
Battle control initialized.
Alright, I'm back. And beer is back. No, not actually back, but near. And it's also a volume should be. I said talking about something. So the beer is in a can. That means that I will need to finish it up by the end of the stream. So, Kiruva's map. it has 2 mines on the main, 1 mine somewhat away from the spawn, and then some other mine away from the spawn, so there is no clear natural. And it's more like mines are placed all around the map in a single spotted scheme here. If you remember the almost arid map, and it was quite a bit on a choky side. And that was the thing that Kirilla worked on this map, removing a lot of cliffs around. Like there were cliffs here, something was here, and all that stuff. So now it's reduced to just several routes around. What else is interesting is that there are quite a lot of derricks. I think there are 6. Yeah, and also 2 communication centers, which are rare visitors these days. And Bane is already picking up his speed, capturing stuff around. Probably getting an Chuvis engineer in the process, because I don't see one. And already captured 3 derricks in the middle. So what are our players doing here? Wayne is already building an MCV and Shuri is a little bit late. Opted for, what's that, 7 ore trucks? That's a lot. And certainly that won't work on this map, because there are only 2 ore mines on the start. And also coupled with losing 2 engineers now. Wait, there's another one. 3 engineers? I don't get it. What I don't get either is where is actual natural here, or where's to expand first. Probably this one. And actually this one might be covered with a regional MCV, so definitely something like Gatekeeper's move. Oh, there it goes down. 4 to go, 5 to go. There is an MCV base push by Bane. What a surprise or coincidence or whatever. And that was just 10 minutes after he said that he is playing tech right now. Turns out blind MCVs are back. Yeah, and also Chu is not on his top form right now, as he said. Yeah, let's have another one.
Battle control terminated.
No. It would be good. But what? Korea? Korea is nice. It would be good, but I don't want to play, and I'm playing bad when I'm streaming, and I'm also streaming bad when I'm playing, so that doesn't work. Always, well, not always. Sometimes I have my days. But frankly speaking, I haven't played much for a month already. And recently, like a week ago, I was completely trashed on one of an ace tournaments on the weekend were last week, I think. I got tried 3 times. Oh, that goes to a situation where I will need to play, and I don't want that, and you definitely don't want that. So yeah, fortunately, sure saves me.
Battle control initialized.
Yeah, and I have Drinking Bane as my announcer here. For Drinking Nazgul. But probably Bane is drinking something stronger than beer. So I can't say that I'm drinking, just taking some beer in. Just a little bit of fermented water. Ah, yeah, I have just 1 pint, and it's yeah, it's a British pint. I didn't know that beers come into 660 ml. I just got into Lithuania, and I took 2 cans of Lithuanian dark lager, which is also quite tasty and sweet. But the thing is, it's in a can, so I can't leave it open anywhere, so I'll just have to drink the whole can. Which is not a bad thing. Just I'm not accustomed to drink alone at home, so you're my outscout. Drinking buddies. Let's have it as that. So, going back into the game, we have a Grand Rush against Chewy, And if you remember Chewie was the king of Grand Rushes, so that's actually a nice courtesy of Chewie being Green Rushed himself. Interestingly enough, he doesn't build any infantry right now, so he might be in trouble. No, gets one. So I think now he gets it covered. So there goes a counter push by Chewie. Right, back into the game. Sure will be faster on his expansion, I guess. After that Grand Rush was a little bit less successful than it could be, because Chewie was fast on his second power plant. Too big? Maybe. But then we all like grand maps time to time. So maybe it's just what we need. At least what I can say about this map is that it certainly breaks the meta of 3 mines per spawn, having only 2. And still we haven't seen any of the players moving his or their original MCV to this spot. I think I would have used it like at least moving it somewhere here and then creeping a little bit and placing another refinery, but still having a co-coverage on the original base. Hi, oops. Today is a day of many happy returns. We already have seen Aberrant, we have seen Jur playing, we have seen Chewie playing, we have seen Bane playing, we have seen Buck in specs, and probably some other known players presented as Smurfs, but I don't know who is who here. At least Lair sounds familiar. So Chewie is blocking this part of the map here and expanding to God knows where. because he will still need to move his MCV somewhere around. But he's having a good concave here, good engagement, and also has a chance at taking down this MCV. But probably not. It will. It has high chance of escape here. As you can see, this ore mine here is actually an ore mine, not a gem mine like you could have thought about it. But it needs to be opened because it's blocked by gems, so it doesn't spread any ore. Playtest. I don't mind playing a playtest game. If anyone wants it, I've just joined on a release just to have more players. But if people want to follow me on the playtests, then I would be happy to play it. But actually, I would prefer to wait for the second iteration of the playtest, where it will have a lot of found bugs being fixed, and also there will come another very interesting feature with at least it's expected to be there. Yeah, next map probably will be a small one, but there should be all kinds of maps in the map pool for Ruggle, and there is a small engagement here. Yeah, but what I was saying, the playtest, right? So Pichot was talking about implementing fire on the move for turret attackers, which will definitely be something to speak about, just because it will influence a lot of balance all around. It will allow all the tanks to acquire targets on the move and fire on the move. And we already brainstormed a lot of situations where turret attackers will have a considerable buff this way. Like kiting with medium and light tanks will be much more effective. Then flak trucks and versus Heinz will be skewed. And then also you should not forget that Mammon tanks will also be a lot more scary, just because you won't be able to chase them with infantry anymore. Previously it was almost impossible to escape an infantry only force by a Mammon tank, because you need to escape into one direction, but you need to fire in opposite direction, and that just doesn't work. But with fire on the move, you will be able to escape and fire on the coming in infantry at the same time. So another thing is that currently the problem is for example, for Mammon tanks, they're taking just a huge lot of time to move from one cell to another. And as they are only able to acquire targets when stopped on a cell, bug left, but okay. So while Mammon tanks are only able to acquire targets while on the cell, then moving between cells, it's just like the problem with infantry, so they just take a lot of time to move around. And thus you need to stop them to fire. But if they will be able to fire on the move, then you will be able to actually move Mammon tanks just whatever direction you want. And they will fire in the process and move their turret. So there are a lot of situations that are yet unknown and that will be interesting to actually observe and experience. Which are not yet certain. So we will see about that. I certainly hope that it will be implemented. And actually it wasn't really a thing, but it was thought as a, let's say, a final fix to a lot of problems that are for the behavior of units targeting targeting actors that are disappearing under fog. So for example, there is a problem that if you target V2, say into this rifle, which is scouted by Yak, and then Yak in his cycle movement loses vision of that rifle, then a lot of weird stuff is happening to that V2. It either converts its attack command into a move command and tries to move into that cell, ignoring any kind of opponents around and just driving into its death, or it just stops attacking. So it's when you have a bare one cell vision that is always disappearing, like from a Yak vision, like for example this gem, like you see it and then you don't, then you see it, then you don't. So attacking such an actor is impossible because you click on it, you quickly lose vision on it, and then your attack gets denied and your order gets denied. The only thing you can do about it is you can target the cell under the actor, but you can only do it when it's under fog, so you don't see the actual actor, because if you see the actual actor, then your force fire will be done as an attack on that actor instead of a cell, so that won't work. So what gets fixed is that now the general rule of thumb for all the units will be that when your actor loses its target into the fog of war, then it will try to come into weapon range of the last known location of the target. So let me show you the example of something like I don't know, if you target this spot and then your Yak loses the vision of this spot, then your tank will be trying to come into his what's it, 4 or 5 cell range of this spot, and then when it sees that there is nothing there, then it will just switch targeting. What it means is that V2 behavior, for example, will be much more consistent, so they won't drive into their death, and they will try their best to come into weapon range and attack the target that they were supposed to be attacking. And yeah, V2 and artilleries are slightly nerfed just because they don't know about frozen actors. Like if you attack this helipad with V2s and don't scout it, then they will attack it forever in the new release now, just because you don't know that it's already destroyed. And only when you scout it, then will your V2 switch targets. So you can't shift click all the enemy defenses, for example, and just forget about your V2s anymore. You will need to scout. It is a nerf in a way, but I think it's a quality of life improvement as well, because it now behaves much more correctly. As previously your units had a knowledge about hidden buildings that are there or not there, and there were also problems like when you click like here, when you click on some building and there is no such building anymore, it's just a frozen actor under fog, then you won't attack it, but your units will just move there instead. So if you don't pay attention, then you lose all your army. But with the new mechanics, that won't be a thing anymore, because your units will just try to attack it even if it's not there. Until you actually scout. So I think it's at least it's working observably better. It's working as it should, not as it was. So okay, I digressed a little bit too much and I lost complete control of this game. I wasn't paying any attention, so what's going on? I guess Chewie is losing here, just because he has only 2 MCVs and one of them standing still and another one was moving as well. Chewie has a lot of ore trucks, which is 11. But Jur is on several bases, a lot of expansions, and a lot of actually working expansions with that. Well, Chewie's ore trucks just stand here instead of gathering some resources. What can we say about assets? Assets are somewhat even actually. But not when your opponent uses Iron Curtain here. So what can I say about this map? What can I say about this map? I think it's also worth revisiting later. because it plays somewhat differently. Yeah, it has quite a long distance between spawns, but as most Kirillus maps do, it plays differently than usual meta maps, which is a nice thing to have sometimes. And probably Chewie didn't realize that there is a base from Jura here. Casual demo? What? Damn it. I suppose I didn't watch the game again. But anyway, I think Chewie has a little chance to stand up here and to have any kind of comeback. As it feels, Jur has just driven off Chewie from most of interesting strategic spots. But then Chewie has some army top left, which might work into his favor. And I need to pay more attention to this game. So it continues to rotate counterclockwise as Jur expands this ore mine, and Chewie tries to drive away Jur's base. Yeah, probably. Maybe it's the map. This map certainly plays quite a lot of time. Probably because it's a little bit low on actual expansions. Because it only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What is it? 7? Oh, actually it's 6 mines only per player. So yeah, that's quite low. Let's count it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, it's only 6 mines per player, so it's something from old times. I should say the times where 6 mines were something of a standard, like sidestep or behind the veil, but I guess currently it's considered on the lower side, especially on the map this size. Yeah, so I guess Arid will need some revision in the future. Because what it gets us, the map is big and it has 6 ore mines, some of which are not even mined by players, like this one, or sometimes this one. But in the late game all of them are depleted like this. And the problem is that you have quite a huge distance to cover with your army, and you can't really afford a lot of army to place against your opponent. But then that distance means that by the time you actually reach your opponent, he'll already built something by himself, so your attack gets completely negated, and then your opponent starts to attack you, and by the time he attacks you, you already have an army. So that's how long distance maps work around in Array. Or there is a second possibility, which already happened in this game, where you attack on one side and your opponent attacks on another, and you just waste all your army to exchange one expansion to one expansion and just switch up your mines and economy opportunities. So again, that doesn't work into either player's favor. And low eco of course means that you can't field anything huge enough to be a death ball of destruction or something like that. So you can just do some positional attacks, but that's about it. Like this force is as much as Chur can afford on whatever economy he has right now, and also a couple of yaks. I mean, he's constantly on 0 money, even though he's earning 7k per minute. So I guess this map may do with a little bit of ore mine increase. Maybe making this expansion and this expansion a double mine, or this one. I would prefer some middle ones probably, but that's up to crew to think about. Gems, I don't know. Sometimes gems, gems dropped around are more fun than not. Well, certainly, sometimes sword trucks here try to move there, but yeah, that will be a semi-decent parabombing. But at the same time, scattered gems might provide a source of desperate income. Well, in this game, it's surprising to see that A, it's not finished yet, and B, that Chewie survived it. So now I'm not sure that Chewie loses it. He certainly has a tech center hidden in the plain sight in the middle of the map. And there is a demo truck that I actually notice. Wow, and that was an interestingly survivable army with a lot of battered units. So I don't know, this game starts to be a little bit boring, I think. This won't work. Especially the Iron Curtain Tesla coil. Well, now it looks bleak for Chewie again, as he is being pressed on two fronts. At the same time, Tanya is somewhere? Alright, so Tanya will clean up all the infantry force here. And though there is a flak truck, yeah, it won't help, because it's too late. And Tanya is wet too by this time. Still, it looks to be enough a single heavy tank to deal with the thing. And that actually didn't look like a nice thing to drive a Chinook into a flak truck just to pick up Tanya, but fortunately flak truck was dead to a Kama pillbox. At the same time, there is a dead MCV, but it's a resurrected MCV by an engineer, mechanic. Endure attacks on the right side, and then he'll also be able again to attack on the left side, just going back and forth and finally shake off Chewie. Fortunately. There was Tanya. I don't know whether... I think it destroyed an MCV here. Yeah. So finally GG. Yeah, I think something needs to be looked up about this map's late game.
Battle control control terminated.
What else? I suppose we can check the face-off. Well, no, it's a big map and I need something smaller. I have some. Only need to find a decent server for it, and that would be. Yep, I'm streaming. Okay, so Royal. This map done by Blackened some time ago. I think it was made somewhere around last year's Lori's map test sequence, and Blackened tried to make as little map as possible, but still viable to competitive play, and that's how Arroyo came into play. So I remember that there are several oil derricks in the middle, and then there are it looks like only 5 mines per player, but I think one of them is a gem mine, and there are only 2 actual expansions on the map, but probably I'm remembered from maybe there is another ore mine somewhere here. I don't remember exactly. We'll see about that in a minute or so. Eventually there were a lot of spectators, but they all disappeared somewhere, probably getting driven off by that long game, unfortunately. Yeah, I suppose I will lose it quickly. And then we switch to something else. Especially it's a small map.
Battle control initialized.
Yes, affirmative.
Building.
Alright, there is
Construction complete.
a lot
Construction
of
building.
oil
Building.
lyrics and
Building.
actually misclicked, so I'm already losing to 5 faces to the middle.
Construction complete. New construction options. Primary training. Unit ready.
Yes.
Unit ready.
Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Very well.
Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready.
Reporting.
Unit ready. Construction ready. Unit ready. Construction options. Unit ready.
Engineering. Moving out.
Unit lost. Unit ready.
Yes, sir.
Unit ready.
Waiting or affirmative.
Unit ready. Training. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Insufficient funds.
Yes, sir.
Unit ready.
Engineering.
Unit ready. Construction unit ready. Unit ready. Captured. Unit ready.
Affirmative. Reporting. As you wish. Ready and
Construction complete. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit
Yes,
lost.
affirmative. Acknowledged. Waiting orders.
Unit
Agreed.
lost. Structure captured.
Ready and waiting. At once.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Moving out.
Training lost.
Moving out.
Unit ready.
As you wish.
Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit
Yes,
ready.
sir. Reporting.
Unit ready. Unit ready. Complete. Unit ready. Deploy here.
Yes.
Unit ready. Unit
Ready and
ready.
waiting.
Unit ready. Unit ready. Construction complete.
Waiting order. Of course. Engineering. Affirmative. Reporting.
Structure captured.
Ready and wait. As you wish. Affirmative.
Unit lost. Unit lost.
Waiting orders. Affirmative.
Training. Unit ready. Option building. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready.
Reporting at once.
Unit ready. Lost. Unit ready. Lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit ready. Options. Unit ready.
Engineering. Moving out. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Waiting order.
Unit ready. Construction complete. New construction complete. Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Agreed.
Construction complete. Unit ready. Building. Building. Unit ready. Training.
Ready and waiting.
Construction complete. Unit ready.
Yeah, don't mind me not talking much because
Structure unit ready.
I'm not exactly good at
Unit ready.
talking while playing.
Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Building. Unit ready. Construction complete.
Of course.
Unit lost.
Reporting
Unit
affirmative,
ready.
yes, as you wish.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Cancel. Training.
Ready and agreed. Yes, sir.
Unit ready. Complete. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready.
Waiting at
Unit
once.
ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Construction ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Primary building selected. Primary building selected. Construction ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Construction lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Building.
No problem. Affirmative. Ready and very well.
Unit ready. Construction unit ready. Construction complete. Primary building selected. Cannot deploy here. Our base is under attack. Unit ready. Complete. Unit ready. Unit ready. Structure captured. Unit ready. Unit ready. Construction complete. Unit ready. Unit ready. Primary building. Unit ready. Ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Construction complete. Unit ready. Unit ready. Complete. Building. Building. Unit ready.
Yes, sir.
Construction ready. Construction complete.
As you wish.
Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Complete. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit construction ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Ready. Unit ready. Prepared. Unit lost. Building. Primary building. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Construction complete. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Construction complete. Unit ready. Unit ready. Options. Unit ready. 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 Construction ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready. Construction complete. Building. Unit ready.
Reporting acknowledged. Waiting permitted.
Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Construction ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Structure captured. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready. Lost. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit ready. Ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Very well.
Unit ready.
Acknowledged.
Construction complete. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Complete. Unit ready. Unit ready. Construction. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready. Construction complete. Construction unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Building. Construction unit ready. Insufficient funds. Primary building selected. Unit ready. Unit ready. Airborne unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Primary building. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Training. Construction ready. Insufficient funds. Construction complete. Unit ready.
Yes, sir.
Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Complete. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit construction complete. Building. Unit ready. Unit ready. Training.
Report as you agreed.
Unit ready. Unit ready. Select target. Unit ready.
We are waiting for affirmative.
Prepare. Build. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost.
Vehicle report.
Construction complete. Unit prepared. Unit ready. Unit lost.
At once.
Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Construction complete. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit ready. Complete. Unit lost. Unit ready. Lost. Unit ready. Lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Building. Unit lost. Unit ready.
Ready and of course.
Construction complete. Unit ready. Unit ready. Prepared. Unit ready. Construction complete. Unit ready.
Okay, so let's see what we can do with
Charge unit ready.
some
Unit
tier 3 units.
Unit ready. Prepare. Unit lost.
Waiting order. At one.
Unit
Agreed.
ready.
Ready. Very well.
Construction complete. Building. Ready. Building. Unit ready. Unit ready.
Reporting.
Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Ready. Unit lost. Construction. Unit ready. Building. Cancel. Unit ready. Lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Lost. Unit lost. Insufficient lost. Select target. Unit lost. Unit ready. Complete. Unit ready.
Reporting. Acknowledged. Yes, sir. As you wish.
Construction complete. Unit ready.
Waiting. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Construction ready. Reinforcements have arrived.
Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Spike lane ready.
Vehicle affirmative.
Repairing. Unit ready. Funds. Select target. Lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Acknowledged. Vehicle report.
Unit ready.
Report acknowledged.
Unit ready.
At once.
Construction ready. Airborne unit lost. Unit ready. Unit ready. Lost. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit lost. Lost. Construction complete. Unit ready. Unit lost. Insufficient iron curtains ready. Unit ready. Charging. Unit ready. Construction complete. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Lost. Building. Unit repaired. Building. Unit
Awaiting or affirmative.
primary building selected. Insufficient funds. Unit ready. Unit ready. Construction ready. Unit lost. Cannot deploy. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Awaiting acknowledged.
Unit lost.
Affirmative.
Unit lost.
Awaiting orders.
Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Construction complete. Unit ready. Unit ready. Insufficient funds. Unit ready.
Waiting order. Acknowledged.
Let's use 5 Aces tactics here.
Primary building.
Move
Primary
through the
building
middle.
selected. Ready.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Unit
Acknowledged.
ready. Unit ready. Lost. Construction complete. Unit ready. Lost.
Waiting
Unit
order.
lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Prepare. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Insufficient funds. Unit ready. Construction complete. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready.
Comrade. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Reporting.
Unit ready.
Waiting order. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Spy plane ready. Iron curtain ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Insufficient funds. Unit ready. Ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Lost. Unit ready. Iron curtain. Unit ready.
At once. Vehicle report. Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Waiting order. Acknowledged.
Building.
Comrade. Affirmative. Acknowledged.
Construction complete.
Acknowledged.
Unit ready. Insufficient funds. Unit ready. Construction unit ready. Unit ready. Unit lost. Construction unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit construction complete. Our base is under attack. Unit ready. Prepare. Unit ready. Insufficient funds. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. 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 Unit lost. Unit ready. Building construction complete. Unit ready. Unit ready. Insufficient funds. Unit lost. Unit ready.
Affirmative.
Unit ready. Primary building. Primary building. Selected. Building. Unit ready. Construction unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Insufficient building. Unit lost. Iron curtain ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Iron curtain charging. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Spy plane ready. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Building. Unit ready. Unit ready. Select target. Unit ready. Unit ready. Primary building selected. Unit
Ready and
lost.
waiting. Acknowledged.
Unit
At once.
ready.
Affirmative. Of course.
Construction complete. Unit ready. Unit ready.
Waiting or agreed.
Unit ready.
Waiting very well. As you wish. Reporting. Yes, sir. Of course.
Unit ready.
Ready and
Unit
waiting.
lost. Unit ready. Unit insufficient. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready. Building. Unit ready. Unit ready. Primary building selected. Unit ready. Unit ready.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Acknowledged.
Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Construction unit ready. Unit ready. Insufficient funds.
Acknowledged.
Unit lost. Unit ready.
Report affirmative.
Unit lost.
Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Affirmative.
Unit ready. Building. Unit ready. Iron curtain ready. Cancel. Building. Unit ready. Building. Construction ready. Iron unit ready. Trust. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready.
Waiting order.
Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready.
Report, yes, sir.
Unit ready.
Acknowledged. Vehicle reporting.
Unit ready.
Affirmative.
Insufficient funds.
Affirmative. Yes, sir. Reporting. Agreed.
Unit ready. Unit ready. Primary building selected.
Awaiting
Unit
orders.
ready. Construction complete. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Repairing.
Yes, sir.
Unit
Acknowledged.
ready.
Awaiting orders. Affirmative.
Unit lost.
Very well. At once.
Insufficient funds. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready.
Affirmative. Vehicle report. Yes, sir.
Unit ready.
Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Waiting at once.
Unit ready.
Very well. Affirmative. Of course.
Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Deployed here. Unit ready. Select target. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Cancel. Construction insufficient. Training. Unit ready. 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 Building. Unit ready. Building. Unit ready. Unit ready. Insufficient funds. Unit ready.
Waiting order. Of course. As you wish.
Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Airborne unit lost. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Primary building selected. Primary building. Unit ready.
Ready and waiting. Very well. At once.
Unit ready. Construction complete.
Acknowledged.
Unit insufficient funds.
Of course.
Unit lost. Unit ready.
Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit
Affirmative. Acknowledged.
unit ready. Unit lost. Unit Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready.
Acknowledged.
Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit
Ready and
ready.
wait. Agreed.
Insufficient funds. Unit ready. Our base is under attack. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready.
Yes, sir.
Unit
Of course.
ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready.
As you wish.
Construction complete. Unit ready.
Acknowledged.
Unit ready. Lost. Insufficient. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready.
Vehicle reporting.
Unit
Affirmative.
ready. Unit ready. Primary building. Ready. Select target. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit
Yes, sir.
ready.
Very well. Ready and
Unit
wait.
ready. Unit ready.
Waiting order. Acknowledged.
Unit ready. Insufficient funds. Unit ready.
Comrade. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Awaiting orders. Acknowledged. Reporting. Ready and wait. Of course. Reporting. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Vehicle affirmative.
Unit ready. Iron
sir.
curtain base is under attack.
Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Acknowledged.
Unit ready. Building selected.
Yes, sir. Very well. Agreed. Comrade.
Insufficient funds. Select target. Unit ready. Lost. Unit ready.
Acknowledged. Acknowledged.
Unit
At once.
lost. Unit
I'm
ready.
acknowledged.
Unit ready. Lost. Unit ready.
Selected.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Reinforcements have arrived. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit ready. Selected. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Building. Unit ready.
Yes, sir.
Insufficient
Affirmative.
funds.
Waiting
Unit
orders.
lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Lost. Building.
Reporting.
Unit ready.
As you wish.
Unit lost.
Ready and waiting. Very well.
Construction complete. Unit ready.
Reporting. Acknowledged.
Primary building. Insufficient funds. Training. Ready. Building. Unit ready. Building.
Yes, sir.
Our base
Affirmative.
is under attack. Construction complete. Preparing. Unit construction complete.
Of course. Agreed. Waiting orders at once.
Unit ready.
Of course. Ready and waiting.
Insufficient funds. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit
Yes,
lost.
sir.
Unit lost. 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 Iron curtain ready. Spy
Ready
plane
and at
ready.
once.
Unit ready. Construction unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready.
Vehicle reporting. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Yes, sir.
Insufficient
Acknowledged.
funds.
As you wish.
Iron curtain ready. Charging. Unit
Waiting
ready.
orders. Acknowledged.
Unit ready.
As at once. Affirmative. Very well. Report as
Airborne
course.
unit lost. Unit ready.
and agreed.
Unit ready.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Reporting affirmative. Vehicle report
Unit
affirmative.
ready.
Yes, sir. At once. Waiting. Acknowledged.
Unit
As
ready.
you wish. Of course.
Insufficient unit lost.
Waiting affirmative. Affirmative.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Waiting very well. Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Unit lost. Ready.
Affirmative. Acknowledged. Acknowledged. Affirmative. Report firm at once.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready.
Affirmative.
Unit ready. Primary building. Select construction. Unit ready. Insufficient funds. Unit lost. Unit lost.
I feel this
Construction
game
ready.
is getting a little bit bored, right?
Primary building. Selected.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Construction unit complete. Ready. Unit ready. Insufficient funds. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Our base is under
Ready
attack.
and waiting.
Building. Unit ready. Building. Unit ready. Repairing. Repair. Unit ready. Lost.
Waiting order at once. Ready and waiting. Yes, sir. Of course. Very well.
Unit ready. Iron curtain ready. Insufficient funds.
Reporting. Agreed.
Iron curtain
Affirmative.
charging.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Yes, sir. As you wish. At one. Agreed. Of course.
Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Acknowledged.
Spy plane ready. Building. Building. Unit ready. Unit repair. Construction ready. Ready.
Ready and waiting. As you wish.
Select target. Insufficient funds. Unit ready.
Yes, affirmative. Orders.
Unit ready. Unit ready. Building. Building. Repairing. Building. Building. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Have arrived. Unit ready.
Waiting order at
Unit
once.
ready.
Yes, sir.
Insufficient
Of course.
funds. Unit lost.
Reporting. Very well. Ready. Affirmative.
Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit ready.
Reporting. Very well. At once. Very agreed. Of course.
Unit
Very
ready.
well.
Unit ready.
At once.
Unit ready.
Affirmative. Very well. As you wish.
Unit ready. Repair. Unit ready.
Vehicle acknowledged.
Insufficient
Acknowledged.
funds.
Reporting. Affirmative.
Unit
Waiting.
lost.
Acknowledged. Reporting. Affirmative. Affirmative. Waiting. Of course.
Unit ready.
Ready and wait. Agreed.
Construction primary building ready.
Waiting on acknowledged. Yes, sir. Of course.
Construction ready.
At once.
Unit ready. Unit ready.
Very well.
Iron curtain insufficient funds. Unit ready. Airborne unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready.
Vehicle acknowledged. Yes, sir. Waiting for profit. Affirmative. Yes, sir. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Reporting. Acknowledged.
Unit ready. Iron curtain
Acknowledged. Waiting
charging.
orders. Of course.
Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Complete. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit lost. Ready. Unit ready.
Vehicle report. Affirmative. Waiting on
Unit lost. Ready.
affirmative.
Cannot be unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready.
Report acknowledged.
Unit lost. Ready. Select unit lost.
Yes, sir.
Construction unit ready.
Acknowledged.
Unit ready. Primary building. Primary building. Select unit ready.
Very well.
Unit ready.
At once.
Unit
Vehicle
ready.
acknowledged. Awaiting affirmative.
Unit ready. Unit ready.
And waiting.
Unit ready.
Of course.
Unit ready. Unit ready.
Acknowledged.
Unit lost.
Acknowledged.
Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready.
Acknowledged. Affirmative. Affirmative.
Unit ready. Lost.
Acknowledged.
Unit lost. Ready.
Waiting. Acknowledged. Waiting
Unit
order.
lost. Unit ready.
Vehicle reporting. Affirmative.
Unit lost. Unit ready.
Acknowledged.
Building. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit ready.
Affirmative. Affirmative.
Unit ready.
Acknowledged.
Unit
Yes,
lost.
sir.
Unit
Very
ready.
well.
unit lost, unit lost, unit structure lost, unit ready, 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 unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Ready. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit ready. I am curtain. Charge. Unit lost. Unit ready. Primary building selected. Unit ready. Building selected. Building. Unit ready. Insufficient funds. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Construction complete. Unit ready. Lost. Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Agreed.
Unit ready.
Yes, sir. Affirmative. Reporting. Very well.
Insufficient funds. Unit ready. Construction complete.
Yes, sir. Of course.
Cannot deploy here.
Ready and waiting. Affirmative.
Primary building. Primary building. Unit selected. Ready. Spy plane. Ready.
At once.
Repairing. Select target. Construction complete.
I wonder
Unit ready.
whether there are any actual viewers left now. Because this game was supposed to be fast one.
Unit lost. Unit construction complete. Building. Cannot deploy here. Repair.
Reporting. Affirmative. Waiting order. Very well.
Select target. Insufficient funds. Reinforcements have arrived.
Reporting. Acknowledged.
Unit ready. Unit lost. Training lost. Training. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit ready. Lost. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Reporting.
Iron curtain ready. Unit lost. Iron unit ready. Construction ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Funds.
Awaiting order.
Unit ready. Unit ready. Ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Unit lost. Ready. Unit ready. Unit ready. Our base is under attack. Unit ready. Prepare.
Reporting. Acknowledged.
Primary building selected. Unit ready.
Ready and waiting. At one. Affirmative.
Insufficient funds. Unit lost. Ready. Unit lost. Primary building. Primary building selected.
Reporting.
Unit ready. Unit lost.
Yes, sir. As you wish.
Unit ready. Building. Construction complete. Unit ready.
Waiting order. Agreed. Ready and wait. Very well. At once.
Unit
Ready and wait.
ready.
Agreed.
Unit lost. Unit ready. Lost. Unit insufficient. Building. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Waiting order. Of course. As you affirmative. Yes, sir.
Unit lost.
Waiting order. Acknowledged.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Select target. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit ready. Unit lost. Ready. Unit ready. Unit lost. Unit lost. Insufficient
Waiting
funds.
acknowledged. As of
Unit
course.
ready. Base is under attack. Ready. Unit ready.
Yes, sir.
Unit
Affirmative.
ready.
Ready and
Unit
waiting.
ready.
At once.
Mission ready.
That was fun. Yeah, I hope you had
Battle
enough
control
time to vote
terminated.
on the map. Yeah, definitely what won me the game in the end is that one additional ore mine on the right. So I guess one more game on whatever map and we call it quits. Let this be, for example, this one. Actually, you know what? The reverse sidestep, if I remember it correctly. That will be a little bit more fun. And I hope it will give me enough time to finish my beer. So, what was happening in chat while I was busy? I guess nothing much interesting. Yeah, we need a step map, which allows you playing on sidestep while you are playing on sidestep. So that it's like a sidestep inside the sidestep. Yeah, I drink beer too. Didn't prevent me from playing versus 5 aces. Yeah, so
Battle control
let's see what
initialized.
this one is all about. Right, so as it is, it looks a little bit less. I wonder whether those are creeps or just neutral. I think it's neutral, right? Oh no, they're creeps. Colors, I think they're okay. I also, yeah, those naval yards are capturable. Yeah, I forgot that there are creeps on this map. And also there is a gem mine instead of a, well, not one gem mine but 2 gem mines. per player, so that's a very chaos invaded sidestep version. Creeps, no, they don't guard anything at all here. Let's be grateful that Nudma Maker didn't make those pillboxes creep pillboxes instead of neutral. Would be fun though. And I need to update. Update my poll. Don't know whether that poll is fun or not, but it still gives some information around. Maybe we can choose something a smaller size, yeah, like this one, and also need to move it a little bit, yep, like this. Nuke silos, yeah, that would be fun. And we see point one springing a surprise here by capturing a neutral naval yard. We'll see whether he actually uses that. For funds, he might just sell it. Oh, a demo truck. What do you know? And another demo truck. Unfortunately, you can't uh, get them into anything useful, but you still can blow up something around here with an aircraft. And you can capture them with a sieve, and then capture them by using a special key manually, not by sacrificing a flying vehicle. This attack came somewhat unexpected for point one here. Point one captured both naval yards. So this one I would sell, and this one I would build some naval transport just for the funsies of invading this side of your enemy. And that was a little bit too forward of an MCV. I don't even know what point one was thinking there, because he was actually chasing the army that he came with an MCV into. But he still can build a mechanic if he has time. Yeah. Capture it! Capture! Yeah, okay. Still, that MCV move was something like Bane would do. Oh god. That was a move command. Into neutrals. Or into creeps, rather. Oh right, naval. Destroyers. Destroyers can do some damage to those ore trucks, but that's only one single mine. And maybe they are catching a little bit of gem mine. But anyway, I think I'm out of capacity to actually comment on this game. Yeah, finally, when one sold his naval yard at the top, and still keeping his naval yard at the bottom. Well, no. Using Heinz against destroyers is definitely not a good move. Expand? Yeah, expansion would be nice here. Especially that he is diving into low money. Yeah, by the way, if you haven't yet mentioned, noticed, I mean, um, it, it's voting on the maps, it's not betting, so you don't win anything. Yeah, anyway, there is nothing much to comment in this game. I think we need another one to close up shop. Though I would like to find something else for. Why do you vote that it's fun? Is it fun? Or is the map fun but the game isn't? Next map. I should definitely choose something interesting for the next map. Otherwise, it will be shit talked. I don't even know, something decently small.
Battle control terminated.
Mm. So much to choose from. Okay, let it be here, and that will be the last map. Just for the fundies. It's also a small map made by Eskimo. I think it wasn't really played around either. Also, its ore positioning looks quite a bit like racetracks, but it really isn't racetracks here. And let's find ourselves some nice players just to close the stream here. And we got one player for us. Let's see, maybe sure. See, no, I don't want to use that. Oh, and if it's actually oops. Sure, you're actually a Masters player yourself next season, if you don't uh, yet realize it. So get acquainted and welcome to Masters. That might be a thing, but I would still prefer if you promote up. At this point, the league structure is still a big unknown, so don't know who will join, don't know who will not join, who will get back from whatever depths of real life they went. No, just 2 divisions. Well, that depends. If there are really a lot of players, then we might run it into 3 tiers. But otherwise, I suppose we would better go with 2-tiered version, like it was last season. And maybe some qualifiers tournament. Regarding the Aura Academy, actually, as far as I remember, Orb is planning to do a 2v2 tournament that includes mainly Academy players, which should definitely be fun. Okay, I'll check ready and we'll leave you for a minute. Hopefully, oh, Oops is still not available. Right, so finally we have ourselves the last game of the stream.
Battle control initialized.
I thought actually this passage was 3 tiles. I suppose Eskimo changed it. Regarding the map, as far as I remember, Eskimo was not really satisfied with it. Or at least was saying that it will be his... Stop that engineer. That it will be his last attempt to make a small map. And at the same time a playable small map. It really does resemble race trucks a bit. And yeah, I remember that Eskimo saying that it takes the layout from race trucks and Stanitsa, and in a way you can see it, but I see exact same placement of ore. Well, not exactly the same one, because there was one patch, one more patch here, and two double mine patch somewhere here as well. But instead there is a longer right side. But still, it of course differs as well on the order count, because on the race trucks there is none. And here there is 5, because I missed the corner once. So I think what I would have done is I would have actually went for Fast War Factory instead, capturing safe oil Derek with an engineer, and then went in for a ranger, and then capturing everything around, or at least trying. Though there might be a problem with that, because distances are rather small, and for example, if infantry is here and you're capturing this old Derek, probably some rifles are even able to cover all this distance before you capture the Derrick, so the engineer will get killed. Looks like Oops has more or less cemented his middle map presence. And now both players expand to the corner or patches. No. Oops is actually trying to base push into a turret. I don't think that's exactly possible. still, he manages to decently occupy this position. Probably Jur needed to retarget his turrets somewhere else, into tanks or pillboxes or even MCV. Now definitely MCV. But well, by this time, Jur is just pinned down. He surely is able to drive off this little base push on the left. But then there is a huge army incoming into his main. And if he places, yeah, he places a defense, that means he places it here, but still there is completely nothing to prevent this attack, and he doesn't even twitch about it. And no defense is queued up, only now, even though he has some money. The attack will probably get repelled, but unfortunately he lost his service depot, so needs to step up on that. Oops, might get into a position that he'll require some money here, so he realizes that and moves his MCV into the corner. But here is some bug that I've noticed also some time ago, that if you send your MCV on a Q move and on a Q expansion, like a shift Q deploy command, and it gets blocked around some cliffs or something else, and around that point it tries to deploy, but obviously can't, because there are units and some obstacles, for example, and then it stops. So you only can shift your MCV deployment if there are no obstacles on its path. Otherwise it will get stuck and it will get idle and not unpack. Hey Alex, why do you think it's not fun? Because I actually think it has a lot of objectives, let's say, in the map. It's not straightforward, even though this game might suggest it be, but it actually isn't. She was probably a bit premature. Middle here, it should be as open as possible, because otherwise you just place an MCV somewhere here, and if it has resources near it, then your MCV will cover pretty much everything around the map. It's like Stanitsa or racetracks, the maps that I've mentioned. You just um, can't place any ore in the middle, just because the position for base pushing or for taking the map control is just too strong due to that. So you need to counterbalance it with something else, like not placing any resources in the middle. Maybe some capturables, but yeah, well, um, it's reasonable that you just um, don't like small maps, except Keep of the Grass probably. So anyway, I
Battle
suppose
control terminated.
it's fair to say this was the last and somewhat entertaining game for the stream. We've had a fair share of games. We've covered 6 maps, which is not that much of a count, but still something. More to come, of course. And I think at least the last one, the Drylands, was somewhat on a playable side. At least it is surely worth revisiting it somewhere later. As for today, it's over. Um, there is a chance that I will be streaming tomorrow as well. I don't know yet, but we'll see. Uh, and maybe it will also be earlier, so there is a chance that I will be able to first stream some maps and then stream some Weekend Warrior games. But that still depends, so no promises. And stay tuned to Discord channel for the updates regarding that. As for the current stream, thank you everyone who watched and who participated in the stream, in the chat, in everything. Um, my headset, my new headset, was actually, I suppose, much better than I expected, because I expected a very bad microphone, but it turned out to be okay. At least I had 0 complaints from you, so that's reassuring. So saying that, thanks everyone for watching, and see you soon next time.